Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. It's just gonna solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
SKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Laura, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil and immediately goes back like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
We are live, better late than never. A couple of technical difficulties had us a little bit late to the broadcast, but regardless, we are here. I am Gedser, and joining me for the first time in quite a while is my good friend Rain. How are you doing?
I'm good, Ged. I'm excited to get into this. Been looking forward to casting with you for a while, so I'm glad that we get to be on the broadcast together. And like you said, we're starting a little late here. It is the NAGM tier here. We're going to have UKN Staralgia against Deva. So I'm excited to see this. Both of these teams have been on the stream already, so if you've been watching along this season, you will be familiar with them.
Indeed you will be, and I mean, these guys are familiar with obviously the entirety of their division so far. Very similar seasons, very close in record, 3-2 for UKN, and I believe 4-1 for Deva, but both of them going out in round 1 of the mid-season tournament. So, in roughly similar spots right now, that could get even more similar if UKN could pull off what you could call an upset tonight here. We're going to be starting on Samoa, just like, you know, we have this entire week.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be the first for all of the teams that are playing tonight, so they knew exactly what to anticipate coming into map number 1. This is going to be a first to 3, so we are going to have a good chance to have one of those longer series. Maybe a map number 6 if a draw does come through. Like you mentioned, both of these teams kind of sitting at similar kind of spots in the standing right now, so definitely am expecting to have a fairly close matchup here. As we do already know our bans as well. The Deva ban coming out from UKN, and then Deva coming back with this Symmetra ban here. So I think definitely that Deva ban going to be pretty impactful here on Samoa.
Oh, significantly. It's Deva. I feel like I can't say enough how much Deva has been prevalent this season, right? I mean, her high mobility, her ability to just completely shut out a lot of the heroes in the game is so powerful at the moment. And here we have our rosters. So we're going to be looking at Kuiper, I'm going with that. Jorge, 9, Puppy, and Levi on the side of UKN. Meanwhile, Deva is going to be running out with Goonie, Kokushibo, Potato Paws, Flexer, and Quibby. We're going with that.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see these two teams play off against each other in previous matches on stream. Both of these teams did opt towards a Junker Queen composition on Control, so I'm interested to see if we are still going to get that, even when Junker Queen was, not really as prevalent. We were really only kind of seeing her get some playtime, maybe on a Flashpoint map. It was making an appearance here. Looks like Deva not going to tease that just yet, as maybe a hazard possible here for 9, though, from UKN. I'm definitely excited to see if we do get to see kind of this variety of heroes that are making an appearance while the doors are still closed.
Well, I certainly hope we don't see that tank come out from Deva, because Deva got banned! Potato Paws! What are we doing?
Yeah, wait. This is a
What's
moment.
happening?
Okay. I'm checking the chat here. It was actually a Zarya ban that came through. So
Okay,
Diva's still on the table here. Maybe
all
we
right,
can...
excellent.
Yes,
excellent,
we're
excellent.
still good to go here. 9 is going to swap over onto this Junker Queen. So this definitely does seem to be a more comfort kind of composition here for UKN. Definitely looking to George on this. Genji had a phenomenal showing in the last couple of matches here. So a lot of pressure on the back of these DPS for UKN.
Yeah, and I mean, a very different look for Deva. On the other side, Goonie rolling out on the Soldier 76, a hero that we don't get to see a whole lot of these days, just due to being, you know, generally outshined by the likes of the Sojourn, of the Emery, and, you know, similar characters in this game. But that's enough of that. George will eventually be the first victim in this series. And that's a very good start for Deva, but it's definitely far from guaranteed for them. And now it should be good, though. With 9 off the board, there's really not a whole lot of point presence for the side of UKN. And yeah, that's going to be a first point cap for Deva.
Yeah, and the strength of this Deva just really can't be understated here, especially coming into a composition with this Junker Queen. Yes, the Junker Queen does have the cleave damage in the kind of axe, but a lot of that damage is going to be able to get eaten up by this defense matrix from Potato Paws. Now, Kuiper is going to swap over onto the Cassidy here, so we're going to try to put a little bit of pressure on to Kokushibo on this Tracer, who right now is not matched, so the supports for UKN really have to play carefully against that.
They do, but they're also playing one of those compositions that is, I don't want to say immune to the Tracer, because it's not, but it's definitely decent against it. But, I mean, who needs to even worry about the Tracer when you can just hunt down the rest of the team right now? Eventually, the Tracer will go down with the ship, and, I mean, after a great fight coming out from UKN, perfect speed onto the backline on that Juno in particular. Eventually, they do get the flip at about 44% for Deva.
Yeah, it's UKN really finding their stride here in this Junker Queen composition. They really can't be waiting around for Goonie and Kokushibo to get an angle here. They need to move quickly. They need to go on to a split target. Unfortunately for Deva, Quibi is going to be a pretty easy target here. Once you use out that mobility from the Juno, not a whole lot you can do.
Pulse goes out, and it does connect onto Kuiper, so not going to have that anymore, and the trade comes through. Beautiful plays there from George. And, I mean, going into this one, it's an A-Rush coming out from UKN could be the huge difference maker. It is a 1-for-1 trade, but the point gets flipped in the midst of all of this. Out goes the tactical visor from Goonie, but it's simply not going to be enough damage, and there's not enough sustain to keep the soldier alive. And, oh, the Deva also getting hunted down after using the self-destruct. So despite a flip, despite the fact that they're going to be able to get a little bit more percentage off of this, it is still a lost fight for Deva.
Yeah, they're gonna have to back up here. Did commit that visor and the bomb here, so you're gonna have to try and build up to this orbital ray from Quibi. Kitsune Rush coming online shortly as well, and it's gonna be nice to have that once you get it online, because Levi is not gonna be able to match that, but UKN did a fantastic job winning out that fight. They're in control. They have 4 ults to work with here. George has this blade. We've been seeing some of the blade beat engagements here, and where there's no beat to match on the other side, you definitely can't go for those more aggressive plays with the beat.
Almost certainly. And it wouldn't shock me if we see something like that. Maybe we don't even need to see ultimates come out from UKN, though. An early pick, 2 early picks coming out from the Genji will eventually be punished by this soldier pick of Goonie, which we are still seeing at this stage in the game, despite it not, you know, being the typical hit scan pick. And it's once again going to get run down here. Potato Paws is able to get the punish onto Kuiper, but it's just not going to be enough, surely.
No, and this is a really good fight win for UKM. You just commit the beat into that. You're now at last fight territory. You have both these DPS ultimates still to work with here, and this Rampage. Now, good news for Deva is that they do have support ults, and they do have an advantage.
Yeah, okay. 1 player goes down for the side of UKN, and that is arguably the most important character you needed to keep alive for this fight. That cleanse would have been crucial, but, I mean, the Deadeye just to take the Juno completely off the field, and it's a scrappy fight for sure now for Deva. They have to be able to retake this with the few ultimates they have. It's just the pulse bomb that goes out, but it doesn't connect onto anybody. It's all down to Kokushibo in order to try and keep this one contested for a little bit longer, but it simply won't be enough. Early picks in that fight meant that the supports couldn't use their ultimates, and Deva lose as a result.
Yeah, really good speed and tempo being put out from UKN, especially when they're already in control of the point and they have the ult advantage. If you have this advantage, you want to take quick fights because you don't want to allow Deva to build up any more ultimates. It's all about trying to stay ahead in that economy, and UKN played that fantastic. A lot of fights not even needing to commit an ultimate off of it, just going in with the Junker Queen, going for a fast hit, not staying in the fight too long, unless you're kind of taking the control point fight and just trying to extend your time. So excellent start here for UKN. Deva, though, interested to see if, yeah, they're going to stick on this composition. Definitely not only the Soldier 76 is a little bit unconventional, but Quibi on this Juno with the Juno Kiriko backline is also a little bit unconventional. The Juno quite fragile in the face of things, and UKN are going to move 9 over onto this Hazard now, so it's going to be, again, looking for these kind of quick, fast hits, but now on this Hazard, they're also going to have the potential to stay in these fights a little bit longer.
I also find Juno interesting because that orbital ray significantly less prevalent at keeping your whole team standing than the sound barrier, but I mean, in this particular fight, it doesn't seem to matter. No ults on the board for the first fight, and wow, the Soldier 76 manages to be the difference maker there. So much damage coming out of that Helix rocket. Deva gets the first cap once again, but we've seen this before, Rain.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to have to be very, very careful about this engagement that's going to be coming in from UKN. Goonie needs to be set up nice and safe, kind of on an angle. It's all about putting pressure onto UKN, especially onto 9 on this Hazard, to try and force out some of this spike guard before UKN had the opportunity to go for an engagement.
Going in on that one, it's a little bit low, falls both supports, and Flexer is going to be the one who falls down first. George also gets traded though, and with damage onto 9, that could actually be a favorable position for UKN. They do still manage to, not UKN, excuse me, or Deva, they managed to hold on to the player advantage despite losing out on that Genji, on that huge damage source, and then 45% in building for them. This is looking good.
Yeah, definitely feel like Deva have learned from the first point of downtown here as we're working through Beach. Now, Flexer has moved over onto the Moira. Again, unconventional here for Deva, but they are in control of this. And so far, I really like all of the angles that they're taking. They are forcing UKN Staralgia to really split their attention. And where you have this kind of heavy hit engagement, you need to be single focused on one target to really find the opening pick with this comp.
Yeah, it becomes very difficult to play around this, but once again, you've lost the Genji on the approach here, and I mean, it's just a matter of UKN has not been able to set up properly going into these fights. They might be able to get Goonie with the bleed damage off the back of the silver bullet here, but it's not going to be enough to turn the entire tide of the fight. Getting the Soldier is fine, but he's going to make it back to the point way faster than the Cassidy will, and way faster than the Genji, who gets staggered.
Oh, unfortunate for George, really having a hard time getting not picked first in these fights, and now is anybody even going to be able to touch from UKN? No,
Nope.
There is going to be no overtime here on Beach. So, I mean, that is a 180 here from Deva. They lock in on Beach 100% to 0.
You're feeling really good right now if you're Deva. Obviously, that first point, there were a couple of little blunders here and there, as it just happens, you know? Overwatch is a game where one tiny mistake can snowball into a team fight loss, but, I mean, Deva, they did not make mistakes, honestly, on that entire point. I think their ultimate rotation was great. I think that their individual, like, micro plays were great. I think that their, like, dives were coordinated. I think their anti-dive was phenomenal. They just played that entire Beach so well, and now we move on to Volcano.
All right, let's see if Deva can keep up this momentum on Volcano. They are going to have Potato Paws over on the Diva here. Flexer sticking on that Moira, and UKN are making a good swap up here. Suki over on to this Emre here, but as both these teams are taking a fight in Reactor, you're not really going to have a lot of space to work with this new hit scan.
Yeah, it gets... this is an interesting decision to go with the Emery. I think that he's very good on the rest of the point, but maybe in this top room, not so much. Regardless of that, though, UKN is going to get the favorable picks going into this first fight here. And Goonie finally swapping off of the Soldier 76. We're going to be seeing the Cassidy come out from him. at this stage in the game. Interesting.
I think maybe that double kill from George really kind of shaking things up, recognizing that there is going to be some pressure that's needed on this Genji, especially in a little bit more close kind of quarters here. This Genji's going to have an easier time following up on the damage from the Junker Queen.
Oh, significantly. Unfortunately, won't happen this fight. Potato Paws gets the punish onto George very early on, and eventually 9 will follow very shortly thereafter. There will not be a particularly long stall here either. It's 27% for UKN as Deva gets the flip.
Yeah, it's a decent amount, but it's definitely not as much as UKN would really want, especially they didn't build up to a lot of these ultimates. The bomb ready to go here for Potato Paws, and Flexer's going to have this Coalescence as well, which is going to make this next push for UKN very, very difficult. They're going to want to just try to build up some of these ultimates. They are close to the Kitsune Rush, but you really do need something to kind of break onto this point.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of tools to initiate quite yet off the back of this, so that Coalescence is going to be very difficult to play against, and Levi just can't do it in that particular instance. 9 also falling, and yeah, another definitive fight win this time for Deva, and I mean, off the back of one ultimate, you will take that every single day of the week.
Oh my gosh, especially when that ultimate is Coalescence, like Flexer,
oh yeah,
like he's gonna be able to build up another one fairly quickly, and in the meantime, Deva is gonna have 4 other ultimates to work with here, but UKN do have some initiation pushes now, so you got 5 ults ready to go. The Kitsune Rush is probably going to be your best bet here, as they're actually looking to push through the reactor here, but everybody's playing very, very split on UKN. You don't really have the angle.
The pulse bomb stick onto the Emery just shuts down any indication of a fight happening early. The sound barrier goes out from Puppy. I think that was a very ill-advised sound barrier. Even if George is able to get 2 kills there, it's not going to be enough in a 2 versus 4. And now 80% in building, and you're down that sound barrier. Oh no.
Yeah, that's really going to be kind of the sustain that is needed for this next kind of mid-fight, because yes, you have these opening ults from UKN, but you're going to need something to sustain through the fight if you don't find those initial picks. So now the pressure is really on to get the maximum value from these ultimates early on.
Yeah, they gotta get it quickly, but out goes a couple of ultimates on both sides here. George gonna be popping that blade, looking to get a little bit more damage on the board here. Maybe take that Deva out of the mech, off the map. She will walk off, so this will be a point flip for UKN, but I mean, that was maybe a slight overinvestment from UKN, honestly. 3 ultimates.
Yeah, a little bit of panic maybe, it fall apart from the fight plan, so yeah, commit big into that. Now, Levi managed to hold on to the Kitsune Rush, so she's gonna have to really lock that in for this next fight. Try and use that to build up some of these other ultimates for UKN, because they got a long road ahead of them, and Deva really only need to win 1 more fight here, so they can even afford to just not hard commit in this one.
No, pops the Kitsune and immediately gets gunned down. At very least, though, you are able to get a 1-for-1 trade, but Potato Paws is there to get the refrag onto that Lucio. But, I mean, this is a scrappy situation here. I believe roughly a 3 versus 3 as it stands. But Deva, they simply have the point presence. Eventually, they are able to get the flip onto this one. And it looks like there won't be much of an overtime contest here. Deva taking this first map in a very close affair.
Right? Yeah, downtown, definitely their warm-up map, it seems. As yes, the beach and volcano, very, very different story here for this Deva team. And I really do think that it's kind of a combination of things, but this Deva, I mean, this is why we're seeing so much Deva in the meta right now. She is so versatile. If you're able to stay in your mech, you can pretty much just, you know, stall out a fight forever, and you have the cleanup potential as well. So it's really going to be tough for UKN to kind of win out, especially on some of these maps where you have the advantage of like having some high ground to work with. And if you're running the Junker Queen, you're not really going to be able to put the pressure onto the supports and the DPS the same way that a Deva can. So we'll have to see if UKN are going to switch up their composition, or if they're going to try and hit the Deva with a ban, or they are in control of the map. So maybe you can put us onto a map that is going to favor this more ground composition that they've been looking to play.
And the other thing about it is that I mean, Queen, you talk about how she struggles in the Deva matchup because obviously Deva can put pressure on the squishies in a way that Queen can't, but Queen also struggles to put pressure on Deva herself because the defense matrix walls out her knife throw, it walls out her basic shots. I mean, you have to get point blank in order to do damage to Deva as queen, and even then it's difficult because she has a ridiculous amount of armor. This is not an easy character for Queen to deal with for many reasons, but I mean, we've kind of just laid a bunch of them out on the table here for you. But in terms of the map pick, I mean, where do you even go if you want to keep this flatter? Because this is like Samoa is a pretty flat and grounded map, right? Like, if it didn't work here, is it gonna work on a Suravasa? Is it gonna work on a King's Row? Is it gonna work on, you know, any map of the like? It's a difficult call to make here if you're UKN, because obviously Queen is what you're comfortable with, but with how strong characters that are good against Queen are, mainly the Deva, I would argue the Ramatra's really good into Queen. I would argue that, I don't know about Domina. I think Domina's like okay into Queen at best, but if you really want to keep playing Queen, you're gonna have to like find a level up of some kind here, because it's a tall task in this meta.
Yeah, the last time that we saw UKN on the broadcast, they did just more so run that Junker Queen on control map. So maybe we're going to get to see something a little bit different as, all right, maybe not, because we are going to be heading right into Flash. Oh, Flashpoint, mayhaps. No push for map number 2. So, I mean, you could potentially still run the Junker Queen here. Definitely an option. But yeah, we got to think that maybe they're going to change something up here as they are sending us to push maps. So this is interesting. I feel like we don't see a push map for map number 2 all that often.
And even when we do see push, I feel like we never see New Queen Street. I'm gonna say something maybe controversial. It's a shame. I like New Queen Street a lot. I think it's a great map. Headrammer has just said that I have terrible map opinions. And is he right? Is he right? Yes, probably. But that's not going to stop me from saying them on broadcast anyway.
It's really funny because, like, I'm the Canadian. I should love Toronto, but yeah, it is my least favorite push map by quite a large margin, unfortunately. But it is, I do like that we get to see something that we're not always seeing all the time. I'll put that out there. I do like to see a variety in the maps that are played, and I do think the new Queen Street does play differently than some of the other push maps. You don't have as much of that kind of high ground where you would on, like, Esperanza, or as really long of a sight line that you would have kind of on Brunasapi or even Coliseum. So I think that the corners that you can really work with on New Queen Street, it allows you to play rush composition a little bit better than some of the other push maps.
I do like Paraíso, for the record. That map I've been ride or die for since Overwatch 2 came out. I'm right. I'm actually right about that one. You all, one day everyone's gonna figure it out. Genster, no. One day, everybody's gonna know Genster was right the entire time. We believe.
Well, you know, someday I believe that Mauricio's gonna get taken out of the map pool and sent for a rework, but who knows? Who knows? Oh no. Well, the good news is that we won't be seeing Caruso here. Fear not. Sorry, Getster. Bad news for you. Good news for everybody else. Yeah, this is push map number 2. Of course, we're gonna have the hero bands coming in as well, which I think we are all quite interested to see. All right, there's the Deva band for real.
The real Deva band. Yeah, there we go.
Real Deva band. And I do think that this is good for UKN. I mean, to come out with the Deva band on map number 2, maybe a little bit tricky. Does of course mean you're not gonna have that for the rest of the series, but I do like where they're going with it.
The other thing I was wondering about with Deva's lineup so far is that they have not played a lick of Kiriko so far. It's been I think exclusively the Juno and the was the
No, it was the Curie. No, it was the Curie. They haven't played any Lucio though, which I do
think.
Oh no,
you're right. You're right.
Yeah, because they were playing the Curie Juno, which I thought was kind of odd, and then they're playing the Moira Juno, which is also kind of odd. So I think that we are gonna have a substitution here for Deva, and it looks like it could potentially be a Lucio player as your bad LOL is coming in for Flexer.
Yuroi. can't believe he spelled your wrong. That's crazy. But regardless of the spelling here, it is as you say. He does have Lucio listed as his favorite hero here. So potentially we start to see the Lucio matchup come into play here on New Queen Street, which, for the record, I would like to go on record and say I like New Queen Street, but it is still my least favorite push map. That's because
fair. Yes.
that's just because push is a really good mode. Okay?
It's true. It's true.
Headrammer, I will visit your house and wish you a happy birthday.
Yeah, everybody in chat say happy birthday, Headrammer. It's not today, but it's soon.
It's soon. It's soon. We're a little early, but he'll make it there, I believe.
All right. Yeah, we're getting ready here. No more banter from Get and Rain as we head into New Queen Street. No Ana, no Deva here. So I don't know if we were necessarily anticipating to see an Ana. It definitely hasn't been getting a whole lot of playtime. Usually when I see an Ana ban, yeah, I'm thinking it's to protect a tank. I was gonna say maybe throw a Roadhog out there, but I think the Mauga is maybe a little bit more reasonable of a choice for, organized play.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Reasonable. Yeah. Mauga is one of those characters that I find very interesting because obviously he kind of terrorized the game when he came out for a little while there, but now significantly more in line with the rest of the tank cast, I would argue. Maybe still kind of an annoying character, but I do consider him like maybe one of those other characters that maybe just makes Junker Queen's life a little bit harder. I don't think this is an impossible matchup for Queen, though. I think that she definitely can do things into this character. The problem then becomes the rest of the team. Never mind. Puppy has the boot. It's an environmental in the opening seconds of the map, and just like that, UKN. First fight win.
Oh, gotta watch your step over there. Deva's still not running a Lucio, so even though they sub in your bad, lol, it's on Kiriko Juno backline still, so very interesting. Goonie's still over on the Soldier. I mean, I can't talk too much about it because they did win out on Samoa with a very similar comp here, so they know what they're doing. As UKN getting some progress here, and Suki over on the Tracer here I think is going to be very important for UKN because you gotta put some pressure on Kokushibo.
Yeah, I do like the fact that they're taking this Tracer duel at long last because on the one hand, it's just fun to watch a Tracer duel, but on the other hand, if you leave a Tracer uncontested, then it becomes very, very difficult to keep her in check no matter what character you're running. Something like a Cassidy helps, but your own Tracer is typically the best tool for the job, and eventually, I think that is already starting to shine through. Deva, yeah. They're losing out on fights very, very handily here. And I mean, the forward spawn has already been captured.
Right, this is massive. And even if Suki isn't winning out in that Tracer duel, the synergy between George and Nine is so good that you're able to win out in the frontline duel here with this Junker Queen and Genji combo here. So this is really good for them. And Deva has been on the back foot the whole time that they are lagging behind in these ultimates.
Indeed they are at this point, but at long last they get some good opening picks here. Deva, in the blink of an eye, 3 players from UKN are off the board. And I mean, most of them aren't going to be getting forward spawns either. In fact, none of them are, I believe. 9 in particular lagging super far behind is rough.
Well, yeah, this is a long walk back here for UKN. So a little bit of free progress here for Deva. And with that pretty decisive fight win, they have built up to some of these crucial ultimates. The Kitsune rushes are probably going to be coming out hand in hand for both of these teams as Deva's pushing this bot forward. They want to go first, but it's going to be George. No!
Oh, the blade gets popped, but there's really good focus fire there from the side of Deva. And as a result, I mean, now we're just seeing a whole lot of ultimates get popped on both sides. 2 for UKN, 3 for Deva, and that should honestly just get them to the forward spawn point.
Yeah, you gotta be right there, and George falling very, very low, has to be so careful. Unfortunately, has really been targeted out first in these fights. The Genji having a hard time kind of taking space and trying to get set up, and now it is gonna be that forward spawn. UKN do have an opportunity to stop Deva from taking the lead, but Deva have this orbital ray to work with.
Orbital ray out. That's a very well-timed beat to stop the tank from dying to the full spawn, but 2-for-2 trade here. No damage for the side of UKN as it stands, but still plenty of damage being dealt by the remaining members of the team as 9 finds that Juno. And this Tracer doesn't look like she's very long for this world, despite the fact that Recall comes back up here. Yeah, eventually Kokushiba will be hunted down, and I mean, UKN, they managed to hold on to the lead, at least for now, but Deva, everyone's going to have forward spawns, and it's not a clean, like, get back to the barricade fight.
No, it's definitely not. There's the forward spawn being taken away, but Deva, everybody regrouped, and they're controlling that gym, so it's going to be very, very hard for UKN to walk past this corner.
Out goes the orbital ray, but Kokushiba does not need it to take Kuiper out of the equation. So back to the other side of the map, the robot goes here off the back of just one pick, but that one pick will continue to snowball. Levi is gone, and 9 is in such a rough spot there, just not being in a position where the rest of the team can help them escape. As a result, Deva very likely to take the lead here.
Yeah, and it's going to be a forward spawn for Deva to work with, and it's going to be the lead gained here. UKN are just falling apart here on this defense. They are trying to build up to this blade from George. Suki does have the pulse bomb to work with, but I think that UKN really need to make a little bit better use of the speed that they have in the Lucio. Puppy can do a really good job of kind of kiting everybody out of these engages. They don't have to go for these ult trades every time.
It's looking a little bit rough out here. 1-for-1 trade. But Puppy also goes down here. I mean, these fights have just continually gone so well for Deva. No matter, like, who the first pick happens to be. Like, the right picks happen to go the way of Deva. Both supports go down here. And, I mean, despite the fact that they get the opening picks, they do end up giving up control of the robot. They are going to theoretically let this one cross the line and get rid of forward spawns. Okay, eventually Tracer will go back and walk that one over the line again, but it took a little while to get there. Now, out goes the Kitsune Rush and the Pulse Bomb from Deva. Neither going to be connecting here, but this could be a huge opportunity for the side of UKN to maybe win out a fight inside of this cage, but it won't happen. Goonie from the other side of the cage going to pop that visor and just fire in the freest damage of his life.
Oh, yeah, and that's really unfortunate for UKN. The forward spawn was taken away, but nobody from Deva died in that fight, so everybody is walking this payload forward. And I just think Deva is doing such a great job controlling the angles right now. Goonie is more or less uncontested. Suki is over on the Sojourn now, so Kokushiba's also going to have a lot more space to work with, so UKN need to make something happen in this fight.
Yeah, I'm not sure I love that swap from that Suki, but yeah, okay, yeah. First fight, it just goes very poorly, and you're not even going to be able to contest this one. Die on cards, so it will just continue to move forward unimpeded past the 100-meter mark now. So UKN making a couple of potential panic swaps here. We see 9 going over to the Orisa here, which I don't hate, but we'll see how it works out. Oh my god, Suki. Great shot onto Goonie there. And that surely should just get the entirety of Deva off of this cart. But with Puppy going down, this could still be a very winnable fight for the side of Deva. Oh no, George also out of the picture. Eventually, the Tracer also punished for being in the backline for super long. But, I mean, this is a fight that Deva is still willing to take.
Oh my gosh, they have the Malga. Potato Paws just will not die, especially with your bad just hanging out in this backline, pumping out the heals. Gonna have the Kitsune Rush to work with very soon. Oh my gosh, Deva, I might have just done it.
Maybe, potentially. The blade goes out and very nearly finds a second pick, but that's just a full cap. That's a full cap on New Queen Street to round out the second map of this best of 5 series. Brutal loss.
Yeah, unfortunately, UKN, you know, a little bit of progress made in the beginning, but then, yeah, it's just Deva absolutely locking in, really finding the timing on these Malga compositions, and not afraid to really take these longer extended fights. When you have this Malga, you're really able to go for the scrappy fights. The Junker Queen composition really can't afford to stay in fights as long. You're really dependent on kind of your cooldowns, going for those initiation opening picks. And unfortunately, UKN were never really able to set up to get those opening picks because you had George that was kind of just like on an angle, getting picked apart by the DPS from the side of Deva, and then you were not necessarily winning out the Tracer duel. You make that swap over onto the Sojourn. I see the vision. You can charge up your railgun on the Mauga very, very easily, but then it's so much pressure to hit every one of those railgun shots onto a squishy target, and unfortunately, UKN just did not have the time to kind of put that composition together.
Yeah, it was definitely rough. I think that there were a couple of missteps on that map, whether it be swapping to the Sojourn partway through. I still maintain that I think Junker Queen kind of has a somewhat difficult time into Malga. Maybe it's not the worst matchup for Queen. Like let's put it out there. It's not the worst matchup, but it's still not optimal, you know?
No, it really comes down to like the timing of things. Like the Junker Queen can definitely win up in that matchup as long as you are able to either go first in the fight or withstand the initial kind of stomp in from the Mauga. And UKN were not withstanding that stomp in. It was really the Mauga creating so much space, and then the DPS doing a fantastic job just kind of making use of that space. And unfortunately for UKN, you kind of mentioned it earlier in the map, is that Deva was just always able to find the opening picks. Unfortunately for UKN, it was either George kind of dying, getting picked apart, or it was the back line really, really being focused down, and Deva just had the target focus on lock.
Yeah, for sure. And the concern now becomes, you pointed it out earlier, but the Deva ban's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to have fun playing into that hero for the next 3 maps, potentially. It may not even get to that point. Deva may end up just walking away with this one pretty quickly, but we are going to Suravasa up next. This is not shocking. I feel like Suravasa is one of those maps that a lot of teams like to pick early in a series to get some momentum going, and it makes sense for a Junker Queen centric team to want to play this particular map. I am just very curious to know what the bans are going to be here.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is that there could be a Junker Queen ban coming out. I mean, maybe, Deva not really feeling like they necessarily have to go for that. They have been winning out all of these maps where the Junker Queen has been played, but it is going to be UKN in control of the first ban here, so they could go for a tank protect ban. I believe that that's what they've done so far. I think it was, the Zarya that was banned out by, UKN, and then the Deva ban coming out from UKN. So they might go for another tank ban to try and protect that Junker Queen, but I think that if you're not taking the Tracer duel, this is the map to ban out the Tracer.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense here. But this now opens the door for Deva to ban out the Junker Queen, and
yeah.
I mean, if that happens, I'm very curious to see what the response is, but I mean, at this point, do you even consider it worth it? Because you've kind of been running them over even with the Queen on the board, but they do consider it worth it. They are just going to be banning out the Junker Queen here. UKN not having that linchpin hero that they've been so reliant on available to them now.
Is this going to be a buff for UKN? Is this forcing them to swap off of the Junker Queen? Maybe going to give UKN kind of a kick in the pants that they really need to move over to a different tank. Maybe try the Ramatra here. Even the Orisa, I think, could work okay for Suravasa. Definitely still going to have a hard time against that Deva because it's just Deva and she can eat up all the bullets and she can run away from the Orisa and all of that good stuff. But I think that definitely forcing UKN off of kind of this comfort pick hero, I don't know, it could actually turn around and bite Deva in the back, but we'll have to see what it ends up being, because I do think that the Tracer ban is also going to be an issue for Deva to work with. So I'm interested to see what they're going to move over onto instead of that Tracer, because like I mentioned, Suravasa is really kind of like the Tracer map. If you're going to a Flashpoint map where you have all of these angles, all of this wide open space, you really want to have the Tracer on the board here. So we'll have to see what they're going to play instead of that.
Yeah, it would have been very nice to have the Tracer on board here, but there's a lot of other heroes in that category who have been very prevalent lately. Obviously, we've seen a lot of Genji in this particular series. I'm very surprised that we haven't seen any Vendetta so far, considering how solid she is right now. So Vendetta, that's my guess personally. I think that in lieu of the Tracer Band, we're probably going to be seeing her. But in terms of the tank line, I think listen, I don't have any insights into what these guys actually play, but I would like to see UKN run out on the Zarya here.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That would be really nice, especially, like you said, if the Vendetta does get played. Now, we haven't seen her just yet, but like you mentioned, she's in a pretty good spot right now. I do think that if you have a Venture in the back pocket, I think that they can do pretty good on Survasa as well. Doors are still closed here, but it does look like 9 maybe going to opt over towards that Orisa instead. Potentially, actually, an Orisa mirror match here as Potato Paws also thinking about it. Yeah, and I'm interested to see if Puppy is going to stick on this Mizuki, because I really feel like the Lucia would really benefit you here as doors have opened, and yeah, this is going to be the comps that come out as the TP out from George. No, it's not a TP out. George is on the sim.
Oh, okay, yeah, this Symmetra is real, so is the Mizuki. I'm not sure how I feel about this composition coming out from UKN, but I mean, so far, it's doing a lot of damage to Kokushibo, forcing him very, very far back in this fight. And Deva, despite having the positioning inside the building where the point actually is, I mean, they've taken a lot of damage early on. They should be able to get first capture here, though, and that's good for them because capture accrues very quickly on this map type.
I like the TP onto the high ground. If you're going to play this Symmetra, you absolutely need to make space and use this teleporter because you aren't running that speed. So this is going to be your kind of movement cooldown here for UKN.
Yep, and that's a really good opening, finding a pick on the Kokushibo here. They all start to walk onto the point, and Deva, they don't have a way to get back up and contest this, so they do finally get the flip here at 35%. But honestly, for an engagement where you got no picks, you'll take 35%.
Yeah, totally agree. Deva just backs out. They're going to wait for their cooldowns to come online. Goonie's going to try to control this angle over on the Cassidy as well, not on the Soldier 76 anymore. But I do think Deva's going to have a little bit tricky of a time trying to push into this point, especially where George is going to be set up on this Symmetra.
Deadeye's out and active, but gets stunned by a great spear coming out from 9, who then immediately finds Kokushibo. The turrets on the wall are going to be taken out of the picture, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm not sure how much that's going to matter, because already UKN have moved past Deva in percentage, 62 and building now, and with Potato Paws going down, this is one fight territory.
Yeah, this is going to be rough for Deva to push back into this. They have ults to work with to try and make it happen, but in response, UKN having this Terra Surge online and this Kitsune Rush going to be very, very impactful for holding this kind of choke point that Deva's going to have to push forward through. Not to mention that Puppy does have this Kikai Sanctuary ready to go. Not a super strong ultimate, but it does have that 1 second where it's going to protect everybody from the projectiles.
Oh, yes. I doubt it gets used here, but we will see. Definitely probably not going to get used at this point. Actually, Kokushibo goes down, and that should just be the end of this fight, especially with Potato Paws eventually also going down. That's 3 ultimates invested by Deva, by the way, in a fight where they do not even get close to flipping the point.
I don't know. UKN buffed by the Jugger Queen band. They are looking good. This is so good for them. Definitely once they get in control of the point, they're going to be so much stronger with this Symmetric here. So it really has a lot of pressure on them to try and find the initial capture on the point, or at least the setup here as we head over to Shrine. Both teams are going to be meeting very, very closely here as Goonie is swapped over onto the Sojourn. So you are not going to have kind of that Cassidy to really put out that consistent damage. It's really going to be more trying to find the pick potential.
Yeah, you traded consistency for high burst damage here, and out goes that ultimate from the Mizuki at a somewhat strange time, maybe, but I mean, big damage pressure onto the side of this map here, and oh, I like the idea from Suki there. I think that's a great place to use the overclock. Unfortunately, Potato Paws just has the shots to completely shut down that notion, and now it's a matter of, can you stay alive on this point? Can you properly hold this one? And they really want to invest into this one. George popping that barrier in order to force Deva back. I mean, playing in that one tiny corner of the point. It won't last forever, but it is rather effective at holding on for the time being.
It's a good disengage from Deva, though, and now they're coming back full strength. You take down Puppy. Excellent recommit here from Deva.
Amazing recommit there, and I mean, that's just a fight.
Yeah.
Kokushibo pops the blade, and gets style points, but I'm not even sure that was entirely necessary.
They felt like they had to commit something into it. You know, you're going to have the 4 other ults to work with here. So this is going to be a stronghold opportunity. Okay, as we do have a pause coming through, that's most likely going to be a DC. Yeah, Suki is going to be leaving. So we'll have to wait to get the full UK head roster back in the lobby before we start things out here. But yeah, this is an excellent position for Deva to be in to try and tie up Suravasa here. They're going to have a pretty long way to go. Ooh, 2 DCs actually coming through. Yeah, unfortunately, scrim time it does seem to, it suffers the lob or the servers a little bit here for Blizzard. Very unfortunate. Yeah, but yeah. Just Deva being in control of the point right now is pretty massive for them, especially having an ult advantage. If I'm UKN right now, and I'm alt tracking, I'm gonna try to take a really fast fight for the next one, try and get out some of these ultimates, try to hold on to some ultimates as well. UKN can clean up kind of their late fight ults just a little tiny bit, and I think that they'll be in a much better position.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting position to find yourself in, because at the moment that they finally seem like they have an advantage in the map, 2 DCs. Have fun going back to 0 ult charge, baby. But it's all good. It's all good. Still have 60% on this point, if I recall correctly, to about 10 since Deva's been able to flip it, roughly. And I mean, that's a favorable position. That's realistically 1 fight to retake, and then maybe another fight to secure the point. Words are very hard this evening. I apologize.
No, you're totally right though, and especially where Shrine is going to slightly favor the spawn advantage of Deva here. It's on that kind of far side of the map. But even if UKN are able to kind of flip this point back over, you have like a kind of a clean fight, there's still going to be an opportunity for Deva to come back in and have kind of like a scrappy last fight. They do still have the Juno. So Deva does have the speed advantage here, where UKN is not running any form of speed, and they're really relying on George with the Symmetra teleport to kind of be the one to get them around the map effectively here. Running that Mizuki Kiriko backline is very utility focused, but it's not providing a whole lot of kind of like broad range of utility for the team. It's very target focused here. So Deva having that Juno speed ring, definitely going to be an advantage for them.
And it remains to be seen just how impactful that one particular cooldown can be in the given map here. Obviously, they lose out on the first point, but I don't think they were playing... I think they were playing the Iari on the first point.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I don't think it's Iari anymore. I think you're right that it is Juno now, but I could be wrong.
I'm just like hallucinating a Juno. No, okay, Quibi is on the Juno. Okay, no hallucinations here. Everybody's back in the lobby, but like you mentioned, Nine and Suki are going to be back to that 0% ult charge here, and I am pretty sure that there was a Terra Surge online there for Nine. So now UKN, I would say more than ever, really want to go for a fast fight here. They need to get some of these ults out of Deva.
Oh, they would love to be able to bait out 1 or 2 of these, particularly if you can get that Kitsune Rush out of Deva. It's a beautiful fight for you. I like the idea here from Goonie. Unfortunately, missing that first shot means you're going to get hunted down by several members, but it doesn't matter! At collateral, I mean, we take those every day of the week. That's the point. Deva wins it. We're going 1-1 to the next one.
Yeah, the fight was just not fast enough for UKN there, and everybody goes through the teleporter, so everybody is just standing, looking at Goonie get hit with the collad, and yeah, all tied up here. And committed 2 ults there if you're Deva, but still holding on to that Kitsune Rush and the Terra Surge, so nice to have those coming into the next fight. Levi will be able to match that Kitsune Rush. Looks like we're going over to Garden for flashpoint number 3 here, and Deva are getting set up first on the point here, so UKN really want to see them. Again, I'm really hammering on this teleporter from George, but if you're going to be running the Symmetra, it's so important to make use of that.
Absolutely it is, especially since you are nowhere close to that ultimate as it stands here. Out goes the Suzu, and it's just a little bit too early, I'd say, to really protect from the majority of the damage dealt by the Terra Surge. With Puppy and Suki both going down, it's going to be a first point capture for Deva here. And now, I mean, one thing that I really want to point out is that Potato Paws has gone the Orisa Shield perk. And that's
I was thinking the same thing!
So important.
Okay, I was thinking the same thing because you're gonna be able to block so much damage, but you're also gonna give George so much charge for free because
Yes.
yeah, he didn't have a shield to work with before, but now he's gonna be able to just fire free forever. So that's gonna be a little tricky here for Deva. So I think that right now more than ever, you gotta kind of target down this sim. You cannot allow George to get up to that full beam.
We're on the same wavelength or something. That has to be the answer here. Out goes that ultimate from the Mizuki, and that's just going to force everybody from Deva back. You cannot continue to fight in the middle of that, and Potato Paws eventually is hunted down by the now empowered Symmetra. I mean, George could suddenly become a much more significant factor in this match.
Ooh, especially because, well, now Nine has a shield of his own to give to the team, so that's going to take some of this pressure off of them. It is going to protect just from one angle, so you're still going to have to be aware of that, but this is a great setup here for UKN, having the Terra Surge and this overclock. If you want to use the overclock, probably going to see UKN kind of kite back, as we actually do see them giving a little bit of space here, because Suki wants some longer angles to try and work with.
And that's going to be the overclock as well, so potentially going to be seeing that ultimate come out here. Never mind. When you lose out on 2 players like that, you do not want to invest anything else into a given fight. You just want to stall out the point for as long as is possible, and maybe get a pick or 2 on your way out. In fact, 9 does manage to find a Kiriko, but no other picks to roll through for UK, and they will make it all the way to 84% though.
Yeah, that's pretty them, but yeah, Deva are gonna have both the support ults and the blade as they're getting very, very close to taking the lead, and they will be able to do just that on Garden. It's gonna be one more fight opportunity for both of these teams here. This overclock and Sim welcome it right away.
And the Kitsune Rush from the other side, as well as the blade. Oh my goodness, so many ultimates get thrown out here, but the first one to find any purchase is in fact going to be the Dragon Blade, which finds not 1 but 2 kills. And now all 5 players for UKN go down in a definitive team kill. And just like that, Deva, they're on series points.
Yeah, really good fight there. They did, you know, commit heavy into it, but UKN also really wanted to win that out, and now UKN have to make some swaps here. Suki over onto the Freya, and then Puppy on the Kiriko. So I really like the Kiriko Lucio backline. I like that they're on that. I think that Suki, especially on Palace here, is going to have a little bit tricky of a time kind of getting value on this Freya, especially against this Ariso that has a shield.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for sure, but I mean, Potato Paws just chooses not to look at the Freya, shooting them in the back for like a solid 5 seconds straight, and yeah, that's how you get value as Freya. Just hope that people don't look at you. Definitely not the character that she was when she came out, but still a threat.
Yes, that's very true, and can build up to this ultimate very quickly here. It's a nice combo for the Terra Surge. I do think I'd like to see a little bit more of that coming out from UKN. Feels like they're kind of just throwing ultimates at the wall at the same time, but not really seeing a lot of synergy between them. So gonna see what they can get done in this next fight. They did get control of Palace, so that's very big. Kokushiba has moved over on to the Reaper though, so a lot more frontline pressure now for Deva to work with. So George and Nine are gonna have to be a lot more careful about how long they stay in those frontline fights.
Yep, but I mean, Reaper is one of those characters who can be kind of difficult to approach certain compositions with, especially if there's a Freya on the other team. I mean, have fun closing that gap. Nine very nearly goes down in the midst of that fight, but manages to stay alive with the help of the shield, the fortify, and, you know, just the support line being this solid. And kind of as a result of that fight, despite the fact that Potato Paws is able to find the pick onto their counterpart, it just shouldn't matter all that much. Kokushibo gets hunted down here, and that is a 100-0 point in response for UKN. We're going into our 5th point.
Oh my gosh, okay. Tiebreaker here on Saravasa as UKN are fighting to stay alive in this series. They have to win out on Ruins. They want to take us to that map number 4. Going to be heading over to the point with 4 ultimates ready to go. Deva, though, building up to the Kitsune Rush. I'd say that this point on Saravasa, really good spot for this rush. But now Deva in a situation where they want to try and force out some of these ults from UKN. Maybe they want to, okay, no, go first. They're going to commit everything they have.
One! It's a 1-for-1 in terms of the Kitsunes, but A pick onto Levi is absolutely massive for the side of Deva. It just forces the entirety of UKN back, but it gets so much harder to disengage when you don't have your Lucio there to speed you out. A clean fight once again from Deva, and that's just kind of been the pattern this whole time. Anytime a fight is like won by one team, it's usually pretty definitive.
Yeah, not a whole lot of scrappy fights kind of happening out here, and I think that as that goes longer and longer, Deva kind of getting the upper hand of it, especially where George on the Symmetra needs a little bit of time in a fight to kind of build up to that charge, and there's going to be some photon barrier onto the point here, so you can kind of find their way in.
Yeah, without the assistance of their Freya, unfortunately, Suki gets hunted down by the Reaper elsewhere in the fight, and the Reaper, in the meantime, walks back in immediately after doing that and finds 3 more kills in the fight. So, I mean, 4 of the 5 players for UKN go down to the hands of Kokushibo here, and now it's at 75% in building. 1-fight territory. Last chance for UKN.
Yeah, they do finally have a combo here that they can try and work with, but gonna have to clear a lot of distance before you can kind of get close enough to do that, and they're not gonna go for the combo!
Not only do you not go for the combo, you just don't connect onto literally anybody with that one, and now, again, Kokushibo has hunted down Suki! This Freya just not going to be a factor in this final fight, and with the rest of the picks going their way, Deva clean this one up super easily. 2 back-to-back 100-0 points will close out the series, but Deva will be the ones to take it 3-0.
Yeah, great stuff from Deva. Honestly, I think that UKN looked the best here on Surabasa when they were over onto this Risa, but not enough to make a comeback into the series. I think that the flexibility and the compositions that Deva are able to play a little bit more meta, it's just going to kind of favor out, especially playing at these really high level. This is the GM tier, right? Maybe in some of the lower tiers, you can get away with some of just forcing those comfort picks, but once you get up to these kind of like top tier teams, the meta is really just, it's there for a reason. So I think that Deva had an excellent grasp on what the heroes that are kind of strongest right now are, and UKN not able to hold a candle up to that, but definitely some shining moments for UKN, just not enough to withstand the team that Deva is.
There's a reason they call it the most effective tactic available, and yeah, Deva just played really well around it literally all night, whether it was the Diva or really any of the other tanks they played, particularly on that last map. I mean, they roll out on the Orisa, they play the mirror, and they play it just really, really well throughout. Even though there were points that they lost, 2 of them, and 1 of them 100-0, just didn't end up mattering. They end up taking it 3-0, and they put themselves in a very good position for playoffs overall. Now 5-1 with an added +3 to their map differential.
Yeah, that is pretty darn good for them. All right, we are going to throw it over to a quick break here, but on the other side of things, we're going to get to talk to somebody from the winning team. So stick around. We will be chatting with someone from Deva just after this.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
Back. It's a brand new season of CG.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got Quibi, we've got Goonie, we've got the winning players tonight. Congratulations, fellas. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, I'm feeling amazing.
Love to hear it. In unison too. That's how you know this team is synergistic. They speak the same time. They speak the same thing at the same time, all the time. All right, so first proper question for you fellas. Obviously, the mid-season bracket did not go the way you guys had hoped. Obviously, losing in your round one is really tough, but you guys did a really good job of bouncing back in your first match after the mid-season bracket of just sweeping your opponent aside, and now you've done the same thing again. How are you feeling about your momentum going into the rest of the season?
We're feeling pretty good.
You can go, Goody.
I'll go. We're feeling pretty good. We're playing more scrims together. We're in Discord talking. We're playing comps. We're trying new comps out. We're learning new heroes. We're getting together as a team and becoming one. So I think that's the pretty main part. that's helping us out a lot right now.
Nice. Love to hear it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that we're really seeing that pay off here. You guys have been picking up steam for sure. I want to touch a little bit on kind of the new comps that you guys have been playing. We kind of mentioned it a couple of times that some of not only the backline that you were running was maybe a little bit unconventional, but also you, Goonie, playing Soldier 76 on a couple of maps. Is that something that we can anticipate to see more from? Is that kind of like a comfort pick? Is that something that you've been working on a little bit more?
It was mostly I wanted to play flex, but I realized like I'm mostly skilled in hit scan, and that's where I really excel at. So I put myself there. I took the initiative to put myself in that role. And Soldier will be coming back for sure.
We love to hear it. Yeah, it's always fun to get to see some of the heroes that don't necessarily make an appearance on screen, especially at this kind of top level of play. And another one that I mentioned was that you guys were running the Juno, and that was you, Kribby, and you did such a great job kind of like staying alive, but also putting out a lot of damage. I'm going to ask you kind of similar question here. Like, is this something that you've been working on like as a team to play this Juno? Because again, this is a hero that isn't really getting a whole lot of playtime right now.
Well, yeah, we've been working on it as a team. Usually I play Lari, but ever since they kind of nerfed her, she hasn't been the best pick, as we saw in the last round. We tried it didn't really work out, so I ended up going back to what was working before.
Yeah, entirely fair. Now, going forward in this season, you guys are currently 5-1, feeling very, very good about playoffs. What are you guys doing to make sure that what happened in mid-season does not get repeated?
Definitely No, it's more of a mental game. I think we get way too down on ourselves as a team. One goes down, brings the rest with them. I think that's the main part.
Entirely fair. Honestly, full team mentality is a very important thing. We've learned that in our team down in Diamond Division. So it's a universal concept, everybody. You got to make sure you have it. Now, last thing before we send you out of here, any shout outs you'd like to give?
Everybody that actually come watch. They're in the chat right now. What's up, y'all?
Shout out to Twitch.
Shout out Mason, shout out Adam. Those are my two.
Nice.
Hey, my cap. Your manager, Z. He's the GOAT.
NZ. Shout out the whole team.
The whole team. We love camaraderie. We love friendship amongst the team. We love friendship outside the team. All that jazz. But we're going to let you guys go celebrate your victory. Maybe get a little bit of sleep in now because it's kind of late over on the East Coast. I don't know where you guys are at, but I'm on the West Coast. So I still got time. But have a good night, fellas.
Good night, y'all. Thanks for
Awesome.
having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so
GG,
much
guys.
for
Thank
joining.
you.
Yeah, good game. Awesome to hear. I love the wise words as well from the winning team. Get your mentals up, everybody. You want to start winning games? You got to lock in on the mentals. Get that PMA going. So you heard it here first.
Absolutely, you do. That's the most important thing, and I am very much looking forward to seeing how Deva continues to play here, because obviously last week they win 3-0. This week they win 3-0. Do they continue this streak of dominance? Do they end up taking down the top dogs of GM? Who knows? We'll have to wait and find out. And that's what's so exciting. So you better hit that follow button right now. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Lock it in. Yes. So yeah, this is going to be it for tonight, but there are going to be more matches throughout the weekend here. So make sure that, yeah, you're following along, and you can check out, I believe there is an NA, maybe an EU match scheduled for tomorrow as well. We're getting down to the nitty gritty in the season here. So all of these matches are really going to be so important for the teams to try and make their best running to get a spot in those playoffs. So I think that the next few ones are definitely going to be exciting, even if they do end up being 3-0s like the one we had here tonight.
Yeah, all of them are going to be important. All of them are going to be entertaining. So again, hit that follow button, come back next time, and we'll see you then. But until then, I've been Gedster, this has been my good friend Rain, and we will see you all later. Bye-bye.